Hey guys, my name's Ty Sturgeon and this is Deer Whitetail. Today we're going to be shooting my bow. I'm going to practice a little bit. I'm going to do the best I can to get ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow's the last day before gun season in Wisconsin, and the deer get a little bit more jumpy, I guess you could say. I'm going to be hunting more skittish deer coming up. I've got to stay on my toes a little bit more. Usually I shoot 4 to 5 arrows 3 times a week. Now I'm shooting 4 to 5 arrows every day. That's what I'm going to have to switch to at least for 3 or 4 weeks. I'm looking forward to it though, really. Alright guys, let's get to shooting. This is a PSE Drive 2019. I shot the 2020. I liked it. I just felt more comfortable with this. Cranked it down to 65. It's a good bow. So morels is definitely the way to go. I shadowed another bow hunter for a year or two, and I'm learning just like anybody else. But morels, that's the way to go. If you're gonna bow hunt, please practice. I do the best that I can do to shoot at least 2 times a week, sometimes 3. If you get home late, turn the spotlight on, point it at your target, put a headlamp on and shoot. If that's the only time you get. Last year, that was the only time I had was nighttime. I turned the pickup lights on, faced it towards the target, and that's how I shot my bow. I've made a bad shot on an animal before. This is a for instance. If you don't practice, shoot one too far back and then you're sitting there, oh my gosh. And this was a 35-yard shot, which is a long ways with a bow. I was confident, but I hadn't been practicing. Practice makes perfect. That was years and years ago, but I know better now. What I'm saying is practice, 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 and practice. So these are Go Tip Arrows XTs. Roger Banky used to have a bow shop in New Glarus, Wisconsin, and he's one of the guys that I hunt with on a regular basis. He turned me on to these arrows. It's got kinetic energy. Literally, I had a deer last year, matter of fact. I let the arrow fly. I had an older bow at the time. I didn't have this one. It was like a 40-year-old PSE. Did the job, but this arrow literally punched through that shoulder. Not through the middle of it, but it punched through that shoulder. These arrows are awesome. Really good. Whenever I was a kid, from the time I was knee-high to a grasshopper, I always remember going hunting with my dad. We always gun hunted. My dad would take his bow out, but I never really got into it serious. My grandfather one year for Christmas got me a bow. It was his bow. It was just a big recurve, you know. Let me tell you, my first deer after that with a bow at close range, I'm obsessed. There's no going back. So over the past 2 or 3 years here, I've gotten back into bow hunting. Now that I have a little bit more time freed up to bow hunting, I'm absolutely obsessed. I'm sure y'all, if you're watching this, at the beginning of the video, you see me holding that big buck. It's a 162 inch and 3/4 14-point buck I shot at 12 yards with a 40-year-old PSE compound. Awesome experience. Ever since that happened, summertime, anytime, all I can think about is whitetails. The obsession has took hold. I'm going to keep giving y'all content. I'm going to keep bow hunting. And I'm considering buying a recurve. I have one that I can use that's my grandfather's and talk to him about it. But I'm thinking about going and buying a recurve, getting my archery skills to the next level. As any archer knows, you go to your roots. I'm still a beginner. I'm learning. Just like a lot of you that's watching, I'm learning with you. A pro of gun hunting, if you have food plots, and a lot of us do, I have food plots, and Saturday morning, this Saturday, Wisconsin opens up gun season. Now, I love bow hunting, but I don't have to put pressure on my food plot. I can set 70 to 100 yards away with a rifle, be ethical, and not mess up that area. Another pro of gun hunting. if you're doing scouting, and in Wisconsin there's only a 9-day season, but like in Arkansas, whenever I was younger, it was like a month long. Well, a lot of times you wouldn't really go in there other than a few times where you're hunting before gun season started. I might bow hunted a few times. Anyway, a lot of scouting got done holding the gun. And more times than not, I've shot a buck that, you know, was 50 to 100 yards away, not running, grazing or whatever, just scouting around properties that I had permission to hunt. That is pretty hard to do with a bow because you got to be pretty quiet. A pro of bow hunting, if you're an adrenaline junkie and you want to get very close to a big buck, I mean, that is the way to shoot a big buck. There's nothing that gets my heart pounding more than a buck at 10, 15, even 20 yards away. A big buck. I'm talking 120, 130, 140 and up. And a 120, that's outside the ears, you know. If it gets your heart racing, that's a big buck. And that's not just my opinion. That's any hunter that's been doing it a while will tell you the same thing. A con of gun hunting, you got to wear the earmuffs. I can't stand wearing earmuffs. Those things, anything that touches my ears, I hate. The con of bow hunting is you got to get the deer in close. A lot of people use food plots to do that, but that costs a lot of money. You've really got to study up if you're going to bow hunt. You can't just walk in there and sit in the stand and expect to see a deer. Early season on public iron, yeah, but late season, those deer caught on to the hunters, and it's not as easy as it sounds. You got to practice a lot. And if you don't like practicing, but you like hunting, it's kind of a big deal. I love practicing myself. A con of bow hunting, can't reach out and get them. And I know I already said that once, but it's a big deal. Whenever you're able to set 100 yards away and you see that buck come out chasing that doe and they're not coming anywhere near you, but you've got him, I like that. One of my friends named Roger, who's been teaching me, I'm always asking him questions. That knowledge that a lot of the bow hunters that's been hunting for years like that have, guys like me and a lot of guys like y'all that are watching at home, we need to sink in and just take as much of that in as we can, because that might not always be here. There's a decreasing number in hunters every single year. Learn as much as you can. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Deer Whitetail. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Tell me if you like gun hunting more or bow hunting more, or if they just run hand in hand. That's kind of where I'm at. Don't forget, email me your videos. We'll get them up. I'll introduce who you are, show your hunt on this channel, and we'll keep this going. Thank you, and I can't wait to see you out in the woods.